So with these Tibetan tools, they have a powerful vibration. All cultures and nations have instruments that make sound. And this vibrates with 13 tones. When you tap it, it's ringing like the earth. So it rings like crystal, so the earth rings sounds and tones to the crystalline energy. And so because of the energy that's coming in through the equinox today, through the Earth Wisdom Foundation, is the earth healing teachings and wisdoms, is talking about how sounds, tones, and vibrations is what brings peace to the earth under peaceful thoughts and actions as we clear, clean, and bless 26,000 years, especially the last 500 years of atrocities, anger, hatred, jealousies has been recorded in the environment. So when you hit this around a vortex that's charging the earth, like this sweat lodge, heart of the rose fire I call it, so it's the heart of the rose fireplace. This is the heart of the rose sweat lodge. That means rose represents a high vibration in our heart. So as the Shoshone nations and the Eastern Shoshone nation that I'm from follows the heart of the rose teachings. This represents the rose lines in the earth would vibrate peacefully, the thoughts and emotions to grow the plants. The chants, vibrations transfers into those energy lines known as ley lines, known as grandmother's spider's web of life. And we use the energy known as electrical current to charge the sweat lodge with this energy and power that will heal the earth through the torus tube energy. So this is the torus tube. It's like the energy goes in the top of the earth, and the North Pole and South Pole. It's the same kind of energies working here in this circle, the torus tube. Energy, vibration, same things coming out of the altar. And then another one inside where the stones set in the nest in there in the cradle of the lodge, in the pit there. So when we're doing these ceremonies, it's important to thank this wood and bless it with songs and love, and clean and clear it and bless it, because of the trees have went into post-traumatic stress and fear because of the logging. All the negativity of warring, fighting, and genocide entered into the trees, entered the web of life. And as now there has been the information of negativity got recorded in the environment, electrical magnetic energies, force fields in the earth, wind, fire, and water, and ethers. So through all that energy, that's what we're made of, and when that energy is out there like that, it replays itself and repeats itself. Whatever thoughts gets recorded in the electrical magnetic energy, if it's low vibrational words, it was once at high vibration with all the prayers and the thoughts of purity, when the thoughts and the prayers and the words and the intentions known as decrees or actions of people's words were once so beautiful, there was no negativeness in the languages, the original languages, where there's no swear words or cussing or anger, resentment in those languages. And those languages carry such power in their vibrational sounds and tones that those languages have power to shape-shift the environment really fast. So when we're saying our phrases and chants in our language of the original language that we're from, English is a conglomeration of, say, 500 nations that fell from their knowledges and then were pushed together like in a big city, had to come up with a language, and so English was formed in Europe and then spread around the world to control us through the negative connotations and phrases in the language. And so here in the Sweat Lodge, we work to bring awareness of beautiful language and take out those connotations that cause us to keep replaying our negativity, and then we get trapped in how we believe and think, because we are now processed and brainwashed for 7 generations of our ancestors to speak this language with negative words that influences us to be the sentences we said. And so in this lodges we teach how to clear that. And so through clearing that, as we're working with this buffalo on the Buffalo Nation. So this buffalo is representing the power and the knowledges of the earth, because the buffalo eats all the plants, sees all the animals, communicates with all things on the earth. So the Buffalo Nations have the power of the knowledges of how to heal the environment and how the plants work and all that. So this acts as a messenger this buffalo. So we're not worshiping the buffalo, we're honoring the buffalo. And so what the corn is on here, because the corn represents all the plants, the DNA of all the plants, the trees, grasses, those kinds of things. And so that's the corn. And that's why we honor the corn maiden. And then with the crystal on it, it's charging up the power of the buffalo's powerful energy force so that it can communicate with us in the ceremony. And so I set it out in front of the lodge. Usually it's sitting back by the altar or on the altar, but we're now got this working here as a powerful force of current spinning here. And then we got electrical current spinning in the fireplace, electrical current spinning in the altar, and then in there inside the lodge. And these feathers here represent 12 tail feathers on the eagle. There's 12, but there's actually 13, 6 on each side of the one. And that one feather is the 13th feather that most people want to find that work with the eagle. And so I have one of them feathers here, see it? So it sits right in the middle of the tail feather of the eagle. And it's balanced so it looks the same on both sides because it's right in the middle. Of course we got a spider on here, that's the spider's web. So the spider is putting information on here about the web of life, because this vibration is working with the knowledges of the web of life. And of course I got this, these are feathers that we made in agreements with those in Mexico to help bring the black and white buffalo down there to complete the prophecies to activate the emerald grid. So these feathers working with the eagle, and now the condor, this one here is a condor feather. So this represents the eagle and the condor nations. As we come together, we work to bring peace through the knowledges of this staff. It is connected to the North, Central, and South America to represent peace as we heal the grids and help the planet awaken to the knowledges of great abundances, that we can have everything we ever needed or wanted. But in order to get that, we want something for everyone else the same that we would want. Is better food, better rivers, clean water, clean air, clean everything, purity. So this is the purification process. And so with these ceremonies, we are alchemists, changing the poisons and toxins in the environment, in the air, in the water, the wind, the fire grid, which represents electrical current, is charging the earth with electromagnetic energy from the lava that's flowing underneath us, is spinning and charges the surface with powered energy known as electricity, and that's known as fire, the fire component. So that gives us lots of energy and power. So through all those elements, they have an energy that works with us. And underneath the white feather of peace, this represents the divine feminine of the women who would lead us in the future into peace. So like my sweetheart, Christine Soliday, her spiritual name is White Feather, and so this represents the divine feminine beings of the women. That she represents us for all women, and all women are her, for she is them, we are another each other. So this is the processes of understanding those kind of things. Underneath the colors of the rainbows, and the rainbows is the Christ consciousness of our heart, our sacred heart, which represents the colors of the flames in the fire. So our sacred heart is the purple heart energy under leadership of peace, not underneath the purple heart of war, doing deeds of being a hero or something like that. We're not turning into heroes at this time. We're working to bring awareness as like patriots for peace and keeping our ego out of the way. And so underneath the staff works with the white buffalo. There's white buffalo fur from the white buffalo that we're in now with the Cynthia Hart button. Underneath those buffalo that came from Flagstaff, are living over in Bend, Oregon. And so these are the vibrations of the buffalo and the eagle and the condor and the other bird nations. These feathers come out of Mexico with the red-tailed hawk, and this is part of their eagle feathers from there. This is a certain kind of eagle. But these feathers represent the bird tribes and the knowledges of peace for the earth. So the bird tribes would bring great awareness through sounds and tones. And the purposes of the Native American influences were to bring awareness to the rest of the cultures that what we have, they once had, and we could re-influence them to follow a path of learning how sounds, tones, vibrations, and chants and our ways is what they had, and then they would remember And how would they remember? By communicating with their ancestors. Once they found peace in their heart, all the songs they ever sang, or the new songs that were going to be introduced or are being introduced now, would come to them, and then they would sing the song, and then they would say to the rest of the people in their circle, I had this dream and vision, ancestors came to me, and they talked to me, and they showed me some things, and this is what they said, and then they introduced the song to me and gave me the song. And this song was to heal the water for this purpose, or a song would come to heal the mountains, to heal the soil, and this song is to be sang to heal the soil. And then it had sounds and tones that vibrated in the chants to the voice, like yada yada yada, and then singing those kinds of chants, and makes 13 sounds and tones in 4 verses. 4 verses balances the 4 directions in the circle, and then everything vibrates perfectly and makes a kaleidoscope of a star patterns like kaleidoscope energy, and then promotes beauty of colors and lights in the circle that promotes electrical current that brings beauty and peace to the earth as we clear the warring and fighting, raping, murder, pillaging, plundering, lying, deceit, corruption, greed, and clear it out of the environment's energy force fields in the elements or the particles of light that's held together by the ley lines known as the strings of light. And those strings are like guitar strings or harp strings, and they make sounds. So what we do is retune those like we would retune a piano or a guitar, is to retune those energy lines or spirit lines or those lines on the guitar. So we use it with chants and sounds and tones. As we set on a sacred site, we start charging and retuning those energy lines with sound, like this sound. And you can hear it's wavy. And when we're doing these sounds with crystal bowls and all other crystals and all other things that the other nations utilize, with the Native Americans with their gourds, I mean, they used crystals before, and other things. A lot of people within the tribes and other cultures once did things in the past that blew up the earth during Lemurian Atlantis and those kinds of things of other occurrences, and they knew how to use the power, which was the crystals, and then they used it for like weapons of mass destruction. And now they wiped each other out on the planet, and then now we had to come back, and now we're back again, and we're now using crystals and magnets again. And those who choose to have a fear of them don't want to mess with them, because they say, don't mess with those unless you know what you're doing, because we know that they can harm something, and we got hurt last time. So they're having some kind of flashbacks or deja vu type thing in another lifetime that they're starting to remember, and they're scared again because they don't want to replay what they did before, so they want to mess with the crystals. So now we got people who are prejudiced, and then they could imprint you with a thought and become angry. But the thing is, right now, crystal is what the planet's made of, and we're reharmonizing the crystal to ring like this. When the earth's sounds and tones start to be really sharp and clear like this sound, now we'll be representing peace on the earth, because when the sound gets really like this, sounding like these things, then we have promoted peace on earth, and everything is vibrating at a high vibration, and everything feels beautiful and blissful and just so nice that you wouldn't want to leave that place. And that's what we're building and birthing into existence by bringing the teachings into play.